The smell of decomposition was already creeping out of the flat. This wasn't some routine check or welfare visit. On the evening of August 23, 2010, around 6:30 p.m, a uniformed officer went into the top-floor flat of a Georgian townhouse on Alderney Street in Pimlico, just a few hundred yards from M6 headquarters. A lettings agent with a spare key let him in, after Gareth Williams' sister raised the alarm because she hadn't heard from him in over a week. The officer went upstairs alone. The flat was spotless. 2 iPhones, a few SIM cards, and some other small personal items neatly arranged on a table. Then he opened the bathroom door. There it was. A red North Face holdall sitting in the bathtub, red liquid oozing from the seams. When he got the bag out, the body inside was so twisted he thought the arms and legs had been cut off. And the bag padlocked shut. He radioed for backup and noticed something odd. No signs of forced entry, no ransacking, no struggle. Just clean. Too clean. In police speak, a neat job, basically a professional hit. Williams had been dead about a week. The heating had been off, which sped up decomposition, and somehow the official story would later call this an accident. And that's where it gets ridiculous. Could anyone actually climb into a holdall, zip it up from the inside and lock it? Arms pressed to the chest, no room to move. Getting the padlock through these zipper pulls is basically impossible without someone helping. Experts tried to replicate it. Detectives, coroners, even escape artists. No one could do it under controlled conditions. One expert went so far as to say, "I think he was assisted by someone else. I don't think he died in that bag. He died somewhere else in the flat." So, who was Gareth Williams, and how did someone like him end up like this? He was a Welsh prodigy, a math genius who finished university at 17. By his late 20s, he was at GCHQ, Britain's Signals Intelligence Agency, and had been seconded to MI6 in London. Friends said he was private but generous, a cycling fanatic and very athletic. Professionally, he was top-notch, involved in code-breaking, data security, and operations spanning Britain and the US. At the time of his death, he was moving out of London. But his personal life raised eyebrows. The police catalogued a £20,000 collection of women's designer clothes in his flat, including 26 pairs of shoes. Landlords remembered a 2007 incident when they had to rescue him after he tied himself to a bed. His browsing history showed occasional visits to bondage sites. Detectives pointed to these things as suspicious, but his family's lawyer suggested it lined up with his Secret Service training, so maybe it wasn't what it seemed. To colleagues, he remained simply an exceptional officer, professional and loyal. The official investigation struggled almost from the start. The Metropolitan Police found themselves obstructed by MI6, who limited access to sensitive witnesses. DCI Jackie Seebeyer, who led the inquiry, later admitted she had to accept certain statements on trust. Toxicology tests proved inconclusive. There were no stab wounds, no blunt trauma, no bullet holes. But there were also no fingerprints. Not on the padlock, not on the zippers, not on the bathtub. Forensics yielded nothing. The scene was too clean. In the absence of answers, speculation swarmed. Tabloids painted Williams as a secret crossdresser or a man consumed by dangerous sexual fantasies. One rumour suggested he died during a sex act gone wrong with a gay lover. Friends dismissed these stories as cruel inventions, pointing out that Gareth was open-minded and private, not deceptive. His family denounced the leaks as smears, distractions meant to obscure the real story. The real story was Gareth's work. By 2010, he was deeply involved with MI6 operations, liaising with the NSA, monitoring foreign embassies, and protecting highly sensitive data. He was part of the Five Eyes Alliance, the intelligence network binding the UK, US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Together, the Five Eyes monitored the SWIFT banking network, through which Russian oligarchs and mafia groups were alleged to launder billions. Williams's work, in other words, placed him in the crosshairs of organised crime, hostile states, and cybercriminals. Theories mushroomed. Some claimed he had hacked a guest list for a Clinton event as a favour for a friend, breaching his clearance and angering superiors. Others said he had been freelancing as a spy on the side. but the most persistent suspicion pointed to Russia. At the time of his death, Williams was reportedly investigating Russian money laundering. BuzzFeed News later identified him among at least 14 people suspected of being killed by Russian assassins on British soil. One Russian defector claimed Gareth was targeted because he refused an approach to become a double agent, and because he knew the identity of a Kremlin mole inside GCHQ. If true, this would explain the precision, the absence of evidence, and the silence of officialdom. Yet the British establishment chose another path. In 2013, the Metropolitan Police announced they believed Williams's death to be accidental. His family issued a statement of disbelief, insisting the circumstances were irreconcilable with the idea of an accident. The forensic anomalies linger. A scuff mark on the bath matched the dragging of the holdall as if the bag had been lifted and dropped into place. With the heating adjusted, decomposition fluids would run neatly down the plug hole, masking the smell for days. No DNA, no fingerprints, no trace left behind. Thus the story circles back to its opening image, the red bag in the bathtub, sealed from the outside, containing a man whose secrets died with him. An accident, said the police. A smear, said the tabloids. A murder, said his family. Others call it the perfect crime. Perhaps it was. Perhaps it still is. I keep turning Gareth Williams' story over in my mind, unable to shake it. How does a man who graduated university at 17, a prodigy in mathematics and intelligence, end up folded into a red bag in his own bathroom, locked from the inside with no fingerprints, no DNA, no signs of struggle? Every detail of his life seems to be layered in contradiction. A world-class officer with access to the most sensitive secrets, yet so vulnerable in his private habits. A man whose curiosity and brilliance put him on the cutting edge of espionage, yet whose end feels almost absurdly theatrical. The more I think about it, the more impossible it seems, like a puzzle built not for understanding, but for haunting. Was it accident? Was it a smear? Was it murder? And if it was murder, how can it be so clean, so precise, so utterly flawless that it defies logic? I can't stop replaying the scene. The scuff marks on the bathtub, the way decomposition fluids would have drained neatly, the silence around a week-long disappearance that nobody officially noticed. It's also meticulously arranged that it almost seems deliberate, almost perfect. What stays with me most, though, isn't just the mechanics of his death, but the silence and secrecy that surrounded it. Intelligence agencies, newspapers, friends, even family. Everyone had their story, their theory, their narrative, but none could truly explain what happened.
This has never been in a place where everyone says it is entirely impossible.
Get my feet.
And I'm not saying that it would be easy, and I'm not saying that everybody could do it.
Shit, I've lost the padlock.
But really the line you have to get to is that theoretically this is possible.
Okay, where's the padlock? It might be up my butt.
To do. And that's where we are.
Oh, God damn it. Why the f*** would anyone kill themselves like